Say hello to a new friend on an old road. Take a two-lane trip of memories into mysteries unknown. Come along for the ride. Jim Hinckley's America. Jim Hinckley's America.
Well, good morning, my friends. And how are we doing this beautiful 4th of July? It's another beautiful, warm, sunny day here in Kingman, Arizona. Always an adventure in my world. Yesterday was kind of interesting, but that's a story for another day. Well, it is the 4th of July. I recently posted a photo on Instagram that was cross-posted to our Facebook page against a backdrop of a stunning Arizona sunrise in the canyons near Kingman. A comment was made that this was my favorite holiday. And one of our followers asked why. Well, that's a good question. Simply, excuse me. Simply put, this is an amazing country. It's been an incredible and relatively successful experiment in self-government. From its inception, there's been an ongoing struggle to live up to the ideals enshrined in the Declaration of Independence. Sometimes the move forward was relatively easy, and other times violent and bloody. On occasion, we've taken one step forward and 2 or 3 backward. It'd be foolish to say that we've reached our goal. It'd be equally foolish to put our head in the sand and think there's nothing to be learned from history or from other countries or from immigrants. As evidenced by the current politically fostered divisions, there's a ebb and flow to the level of united in these United States. Reaching the ideals envisioned by the nation's founders and the continuance of the Republic, well, that's dependent on each and every generation. Only through self-education, a hunger for wisdom, an open mind, and discernment can we avoid the fostered divisions that are among the greatest threats that we as a people face. Well, with that relatively long-winded introduction out of the way, let's talk about the changing face on the main street of America, Route 66. You know, long ago, this highway transcended its original purpose. It has morphed into the quintessential American road trip. And it's come to symbolize the American experience for legions of domestic and international enthusiasts. Case in point, the Mother Road Route 66 Passport, the ultimate customizable souvenir, and the Route 66 navigation app. COVID obviously caused setbacks throughout the Route 66 community, and the Passport and app are no exception. But Marion was on track. He promised we'd have a new passport this year, and I'll be danged he didn't deliver. Together, these are fast becoming a favorite trade tool for the Route 66 traveler. They are also more than just a souvenir guide. They were designed to provide a service for Route 66 communities and for visitor centers. The app itself has an array of features, and it was a distinct honor to assist with development of the expansive point of interest file that includes a brief history, website link, phone number, and hours of operation for select businesses and museums, historic sites, and points of particular interest. The app and the passport exemplify the international nature of Route 66, and so an argument could easily be made that this storied highway is a microcosm of America. Route 66 navigation mirrors that. It was developed by a Route 66 enthusiast based in Bratislava, Slovakia. Before COVID-19, he literally spent months driving the road, meeting with business owners, tourism officials, and community leaders. He developed friendships as well as mutually beneficial partnerships through the Route 66 community. And he obviously spent a great deal of money in his travels as well as contributed to restoration projects. Again, COVID was quite a setback throughout the Route 66 community. Throat's a bit dry this morning, excuse me, folks. Still, the fast approaching centennial and the international fascination with Route 66 has provided communities large and small with tremendous opportunity for revitalization and for economic development. Tucumcari is an excellent example of innovative ways that a community can tap into opportunities. The Tucumcari Talking Tour. Now, this is a self-guided radio tour of the city's historic landmarks, motels, murals, and other points of interest. The tour's creator is Tracy Johnson, who set up the small radio transmitters at those initial 16 sites in the city. In addition to encouraging visitors to discover Tucumcari and visit local businesses, Tucumcari Talking Tour takes donations through the website tucumcaritalkingtour.com, with the funds used to repair historic neon signage, business facades, and contribute to other beautification programs along the Route 66 corridor in the city. All the 16 sites' radio messages are on the 1640 AM frequency, except for the Blue Swallow Motel, which is on the 1630 frequency to prevent interference with another nearby signal. And there are signs that have been placed at each site giving the broadcast frequency. The recorded messages contain a short story about the site. Tucumcari Main Street is the physical agent for the project, and this is but one example of the many projects currently under development by Tucumcari Main Street. The Visit Tucumcari website has lots of information about amenities that might just surprise the average visitor. Aside from the Route 66 Museum and the Convention Center, the renovated depot, now that's also well worth a visit. There's plans for a pretty neat railroad museum coming soon. There are 2 lakes just a few miles from town, state parks, and 2 golf courses. Lots of hiking trails around the lakes, wildlife. And you know, if your car club is looking for a great place to hold an event, maybe you should consider Tucumcari. The Convention Center, the Route 66 Museum, more than 1,200 motel rooms, and lots of scenic 2-lane highways for cruising. Now that would make for a memorable weekend, especially if shared with friends, enthusiasts, and like-minded people. You know, recently, Tucumcari took another step to capitalize on Route 66 by enacting a neon sign initiative. And this is welcome news, as the town is well known for its beautiful historic neon signage. The thought that more signs will be shining bright along Route 66 is, you know, rather exciting. This is a town that's getting ready to celebrate the Route 66 centennial in style. You know, Route 66 in the modern era has often been referenced as a living time capsule. I prefer to think of it as a string of living time capsules, places that blur the line between past and present. And you know, Tucumcari shines in this realm as well. The Roadrunner Lodge is just one example. And David and Amanda Brenner, they started with a derelict motel that had been closed for years. Joe Sonderman and I explored this property shortly before the Brenners acquired it, and it was rough. Homeless people had gotten into some of the rooms. It was in bad shape. So I admire the Brenners' vision and tenacity. With an attention to detail, they've transformed it into a destination. It's an opportunity to experience quality lodging circa 1964, but with modern amenities. The motel is also a tangible link to Route 66 and mid-century American history. Here's a little bit of fill your head with useless knowledge kind of thing. The Roadrunner Lodge was originally two different properties. The west side was built in 1947 as La Plaza Court. Agnes Leatherwood built Leatherwood Manor next door in 1964. Then in about 1985, the two motels were combined. The World Monuments Fund a few years ago noted that authentic Route 66 motels are some of the most endangered properties on Route 66, and they're some of the most endangered mid-century American properties, commercial properties. And yet, these motels are a key component in the Route 66 experience. So it's always a delight to see a property given a new lease on life. As a bonus, that can often spark a renaissance in a community. Slowly but surely, we're seeing a little bit of that in Kingman. The mid-1955 Hilltop Motel is undergoing an extensive renovation, and I'm pleased to say they're even keeping the swimming pool. The El Trovador Motel renovation kind of has come up a little short, but I'm really glad to see it. This is a 1939 motel, and it was scheduled for demolition. Kingman has some of the most just diverse array of motels, vintage motels. The Siesta Motel dates to 1929. The Ramblin' Rose Motel, if you drive through Kingman and look at the railings, you'll see that they're stamped with a TL. That was originally a Travelodge motel. The White Rock Court in Kingman, built in 1936, is the only motel in Kingman that was listed in the Green Book for Negro Motorists. And it's also an authentic pre-war auto court. And then right next door is the 1939 Arcadia Lodge. With that said, I want to give a hats off to Angela Moreland. She's breathing new life into the circa 1956 Cactus Inn Motel in McLean, Texas. As an historic side note, this was the last town on Route 66 in Texas to be bypassed. The town took a hard economic hit from which it has yet to recover. Still, Angela sees a future here along Route 66, and I think she's right. As the centennial approaches, more and more people will be discovering America's most famous highway. And I suspect that soon there will be more than just the Red River Steakhouse and Cactus Inn Motel shining bright in McLean. Hey, here's a little bit of another trivia note for you. Did you know that there is a direct link between McLean, Texas, and the sinking of the Titanic? When it comes to Route 66 time capsules, one of the crown jewels has to be the Wagon Wheel Motel in Cuba, Missouri. This is the oldest continuously operated motel on Route 66. Connie Eccles' restoration is a near-perfect blending of past and present. But what really makes this place so special is that it's in Cuba, and that the very essence of the Route 66 experience is made manifest here. The motel's park-like grounds, the patio and the gift shop and the office inspire visitors to share their experiences, to laugh, and simply talk about the wonder of Route 66. Every time I experience that at the Wagon Wheel, it's a throwback to the road trips of my youth. We didn't stay in motels often when we traveled. We would camp out and stay in a motel every second night. But it was always neat. I'd run into kids my age. We'd play on the grass or the swings, and we'd visit. I'd see them in St. Louis, and then 2 days later I'd see them in Oklahoma, and kind of became roadside friends, if you will. I even developed, for a short time, some pen pal relations with a few of these folks when I was a kid, back in the old days of snail mail. But that's still alive and well, and it's things like this that make a Route 66 adventure so infectious. Enhancing a visit to the Wagon Wheel Motel is Cuba. Time and time again, my dearest friend and I have entertained flights of fancy, giving thought of moving to this charming Ozark Mountains village. But, I hate to admit it, but we're just desert rats. You know, a great way to discover Cuba is to take the mural tour. Several years ago, the city launched an innovative mural program, and this resulted in Cuba being proclaimed Missouri's Mural City. The colorful scenes depict moments in the city's history, from the Civil War to the first car in town, a brief encounter with Amelia Earhart. I bet you didn't know that Amelia Earhart had a connection with Cuba. And by following the trail of murals, I recommend doing it on foot. You're going to discover some real treasures. Frisco's Grill and Pub. The surprisingly interesting Hayes Shoe Store. That's really a surprise. If you stop at the Hayes Shoe Store, politely ask if they will give you a tour of the cellar. Quite amazing. And, of course, there's the wonderful Cuba Bakery and Deli, which I have a tendency to frequent when I'm in Cuba, especially for my breakfast. For breakfast, I like Cuba Bakery and Deli or Shelley's. The problem with Shelley's, it's a small diner, real small. And sometimes they don't have any room. And so there's the Cuba Bakery and Deli on Main Street, one block off Route 66, which is Washington in Cuba. You know, I don't fault any community, but it surprises me how there's so many communities that simply don't see the value in tourism. And for me, when I speak on tourism, economic related issues, I always put it this way. If you make a community a place people want to visit, you will make it a place they will want to live, to raise a family, to open a business, and to retire. If you need evidence of the economic importance, check out a recent report. According to the United States Chamber of Commerce, last year, the COVID-19 pandemic cost the United States tourism industry, are you ready for this? $766 billion, with a B, billion dollars. It always amazes me that some communities don't include long-term tourism planning and economic development initiatives. This becomes even more amazing for towns located along the Route 66 corridor, especially the rural communities in need of an economic boost. In Kingman, the light went on with the hosting of the 2014 Route 66 International Festival. During initial planning, the city was very cautious about a display of support for the Grassroots initiative that had come together to bring this event to town. The tourism office outright refused to become involved. It was viewed as an event that was bound to flop, and as a result, the city would be given a black eye. Even the State Route 66 Association initially distanced themselves. But a few weeks before the festival, as evidence of success mounted and international participation grew, everything changed. You know, that festival is an example of the power of grassroots initiatives. It shows what we can accomplish by building cooperative partnerships in our community and with neighboring communities. And we can take that on a national level. Cooperative partnerships are crucial for success. Anyway, that festival was the catalyst for a renaissance in the historic business district that's ongoing to this day. A manifestation of this transformation is the launch of an initiative by Kingman Main Street. This took place a few weeks ago. I am so excited to be playing a part in this endeavor. It's something I've envisioned for years. The project will foster development of a sense of community and community purpose. It will greatly enhance the visitor's experience, and I hope that it will be a template that can be used in other communities. It will be a multifaceted, narrated, self-guided tour of the historic district and the Route 66 corridor. The primary component is kiosks at historic sites. These will have an historic photo, a brief caption, the name of the sponsor, and a QR code that links to the website's audio narration file. Phase 1 will be 40 sites in 4 categories. Picture yourself here, celebrity associated sites, Route 66, and historic Kingman sites. The second component is going to be the website. This will have a slider that shows a then and now photo. The caption from the kiosk will be displayed, and the audio file can also be accessed from the website as well. And then there will be a current 360-degree photo. As a package, this will allow for a virtual tour of Kingman and the Route 66 corridor from anywhere in the world, and that should inspire folks to come pay us a visit. I want to give a shout out to some folks in Colorado that have contributed to this program and everyone else. This is going to be accomplished almost entirely through grants and through donations. No city or government money is being used for this project. Harnessing new technologies. You know, that's an important part of tourism-related marketing in the modern era. We had ample evidences last year. As an example, we may be suffering from Zoom exhaustion, but you have to admit it was transformative. Here's a thought. I wonder how Zoom will change business travel. How's it going to change education in the future? I mean, last year, the classes that I teach at Mojave Community College were all done via Zoom. This old dog had to learn some new tricks. For a peek at what can be done with just this one platform, consider the innovative program series launched last year by the California Historic Route 66 Association. Sure, there were bumps along the way, a little egg on their face. There was a learning curve for participants as well as the host. But I give these folks an A for effort. They stuck with it. And the result is a fascinating, informative, tremendous series of programs. And they were able to reach an international audience. Their next program coming up, I'll be sharing it soon, will have Scott McCoy as their guest. Now, imagine applying a similar concept to this, to Route 66 planning sessions. We could take them international. What could be accomplished by fostering development of a sense of community, coordinating development of events, bringing attention to restoration projects, or even to pressing legislative agendas? It's all pretty thought-provoking, isn't it? Especially for somebody like me that's basically modern Amish. Somebody like me that's thinking that I need a Model A Ford and I need a road trip from end to end on Route 66 in a 90-year-old car. When it comes to tapping into the resurgent interest in Route 66 for community revitalization, Pontiac, Illinois, that's the one to emulate. That's the community to study. This progressive, outside-the-box thinking town has figured out how to sell pretty much everything on the hog, including the squeal. They have masterfully used Route 66 to highlight the things that make Pontiac special. Its history, its museums, a business-friendly climate, innovative programs and initiatives that revitalize blighted areas. The town was able to foster a cooperative partnership that resulted in a 30-day mural marathon, and that transformed the historic district. That was a catalyst. Similar partnerships have resulted in the creation of the Pontiac Oakland Museum and Research Center, the Society of Guilders Museum. If you want to see how a community can be transformed with vision, with perseverance, with cooperative partnership, with leadership, and with grassroots initiatives, check out Pontiac. And if you're looking for some inspiration to get a grassroots movement started in your community, check out Pontiac. Another city to watch is Tulsa. When it comes to seeing the value in Route 66, this town gets it. Working with State and Reese Martin and the Oklahoma Route 66 Association, entire neighborhoods are being transformed. And they are focusing now on the fast approaching centennial. They're making some big plans. A neon sign park was recently established. Using historic signage as well as scale models of historic signs, serpentine trails. A destination was created where there was none. Even better, if a visitor wants to experience the park in all its glory, they have to stay overnight. And that the longer stay of the visitor equals an increase in tax revenue through tourism dollars. I expect to see some rather dramatic transitions happening in Tulsa by the end of the year. The city's innovative neon sign initiative. To date, more than a dozen new or renovated signs are blazing bright along the Route 66 corridor, and there are plans for many more soon. Well, I don't know how it happened, but once again, I've about run out the clock, and sure, like I say, I don't like to wear out my welcome beating my gums. But before I get to your questions and wrap things up, I want to say a little something about me amigos at Route Trip USA that strive to ensure memorable, well-planned, trouble-free adventures in the United States as well as Canada. To that end, they travel the roads as much as possible. They create a network of professionals, and they keep abreast of changes and updates. And with that said, it brings me tremendous satisfaction to announce that my services as a consultant have been retained. And there's a little something else. If you book a Route 66 adventure with Route Trip USA, or a trip in the Southwest that includes Kingman, you can add a walkabout in the historic business district with me as your guide. And if you make that a nighttime walkabout, I guarantee some great, colorful, vintage neon. One more item of note. I don't have all the details yet, but Louis Keene, the mayor of Uranus, has informed me that big, new, and exciting additions are coming to Uranus soon. Now, personally, I can't wait to see what he comes up with next. This is a showman of P.T. Barnum caliber. Uranus already has an incredible fudge shop, an amazing general store with jams, jellies, and all manner of goodies. His gift shop is without equal, especially if you happen to like a bit of tongue-in-cheek juvenile humor. The one-of-a-kind circus sideshow museum is quite a sight to see. He has escape rooms and an array of other attractions that make it a fun-filled family stop. Stay tuned. I'll share updates from Uranus as they become available. And I want to say thank you to supporters of our crowdfunding initiatives on the Patreon platform. There are so many of our projects, especially educational initiatives, that just simply would not be possible without your support. Thank you. Am I the only one that's amazed by how fast time goes when we get together? Before I wrap it up, let's get to some questions, suggestions, and tips. Happy 4th of July from our friends in England. Stephen, good morning. I hope you are well. Mr. Andy, all the way down in Tucson. Good morning, sir. Yes, 4th of July. Keith, hey, good morning. You know, it was finally good to get to see you. We didn't get a chance to talk as much as I would have liked. But you know what? It was sure good to see you again. Miss Maggie, all the way from Michigan, and David celebrating the 4th of July in Kentucky, and Nolan Stoltz is on the road, Joplin, Missouri this morning. Jill, good morning. Hey, I hope if your book hasn't arrived yet, I hope it arrives real soon, and I got some goodies in there for you. Connie, good morning from Tucumcari. You know, your ears must have been burning because we were sure talking about all the exciting things happening in Tucumcari this morning. Mike, good morning. Thank you for that. Lulu, all the way from Indiana, good morning. And Mr. Ken in Colorado. And Dries Bessels from the Netherlands. Good morning, my friend. Yes, and my sculpture is going to be right across the street from the lizard. Never thought of myself as a pigeon roost. I am definitely honored. I'm humbled. But like I said, I'd feel a lot more comfortable about having a statue of me put up at the railroad depot if I was dead first. Thank you, Ken. You know, I wished I was just getting started. Yes, Ken, thank you so very much. I'm confident we can pull this off, and I hope to be worthy. I hope this project is worthy of your trust that you've placed in me. And the Kingman Main Street folks, we are going to do everything we can to really create something special here. And hopefully it'll be a template we can take on the road. My project with a vintage car, well, kind of moving forward, albeit a little bit slow. It's turning into a full-blown educational program. I'm working now with some filming people to kind of turn it into a program. I want to take it into schools, talk about Route 66. I want to take my community college programs on the road, present those to communities at the same time. Tucumcari Railroad Museum is open. Well, egg on my face, I missed that one. 72 people this week. Wonderful. You know, the Railroad Museum in Tucumcari, people get a little myopic, and this happens not just in Tucumcari, but in communities all over the United States, along the Route 66 corridor specifically. People cruise through on Route 66, and they don't branch out a little. Here's a little thought for you. Next time you overnight in Tucumcari and you hang out, say at the Blue Swallow or Roadrunner Lodge or the Safari Motel, visit with a guest, have a great dinner at the Powwow or, Dell's. Wander down into the old part of town. Check out the Odin Theater, built in 1939. You might as well make it a complete time travel adventure. And this happens a lot in communities. That's one reason we're doing the walking tour in Kingman. There are so many things just a block or two off Route 66. And pretty amazing stuff. Hey, I am so glad that you folks could join me today. And I really hope everyone has a wonderful Independence Day. Take a few minutes to give thought to what an amazing country this is, how we got to this point, our shortcomings, and how we're going to fix them. And make a plan to do some reading. Grab a copy of the Federalist Papers written by the country's founders, some of the country's founders, and grab some of Thomas Paine's writings and do a bit of reading. And most importantly, folks, find ways to build partnerships. Anybody, it doesn't take anything to create divisions and pour gas on the fire, but building cooperative partnerships that transform, change, and move things forward, that's an art, and that's a challenge. My friends, thank you for everything, and I hope you found today's program interesting and inspirational. And we will do this again next week. Same time. Barring accidental death, dismemberment, or any tragedies of some sort. My friends, vaya con Dios and adios. Until we meet again.
Say hello to a new friend on an old road. Take a two-lane trip of memories into mysteries unknown. Come along for the ride. Jim Hinckley's America. Jim Hinckley's America.